Watermelon sugar high. Watermelon sugar high. Watermelon sugar high.
There's more. No, there's more.
I can't think the rest of the words. It's like strawberries at night.
I don't remember. I can't remember what it was.
It's a new song.
I know that song stuck in my head too, man. It's all over the place. That song.
Hilarious.
That was Matt from Turnkey. We got Matt, Carlito. We got Matt from Turnkey Shoring.
Hey, you don't even know.
What are we going to talk about? Tile? No.
No. What are we going to talk about
Carpentry?
today?
A little bit. What are we going to talk about?
Carpentry's going to be involved.
What are we going to? Bricklaying? No.
Oh, drilling holes.
A little bit. Okay. So what are we going to talk about, Matt?
Oh, we were talking about drilling some holes and filling them airtight.
That's it. All right. So it's
I
a
like
porn
that.
show today. Okay, Matt, thank you very much for joining the show. We really appreciate you coming by. I know we tried to schedule this before COVID, and all of a sudden COVID hit, and then we all just went like flatline. But now we're here. It's July. It's a little warm. It's not as warm as last week. Last week it was like 3 sweaty hot men here.
Dude, he just brought like
Food.
pizzas and
Rosie,
Speducci and salad.
Oh my God, lamb.
I swear I thought you were Italian.
I am as caker as they come, but
No.
I make the best caker espresso you will ever have in your life.
Dude, I can imagine.
You
And
come to my office, I assure you. Manny does like on job sites.
I'm going to pass by. I'm going to pass by.
Just for the listeners, because they can't see this, you should see these guys eating Speducci.
This is, come on, man. It's right there. I can't believe you're touching it, man.
I picked this up fresh.
I
ordered
know,
it.
dude.
It tastes so good. Okay, so we got to thank them, and I really appreciate you getting gluten-free too as well, man.
Well, it's your girl, Rosie.
I know that she's gluten-
I told her what I was doing, and she's
And
like, "Oh,
she-
It's
Manny's gluten
for the weak people.
It's not. For
I very much.
It's all
order
the
extra
sugar
gluten.
and
read it
the
up.
GMO
No,
that's been added
read
into
it-
your
read it up.
into your genetics. My genetics are European. They're strong.
Eat extra gluten.
Eat more.
This is not a food podcast.
You're lucky I saw my mother before I came here.
Okay, can we get back on track here?
Yeah.
What are we doing first?
Oh, wait a second. Are you ready?
No, hang on a second. No, I'm not actually.
Okay.
Because Matt,
Let's do the handles.
we got to do the handles. So,
Man, what's wrong with you?
on IG, Turnkey Shoring.
Yep.
On the website, it's www.turnkeyss.ca. Keeping it Canadian. Email info@turnkeyss.ca. And you got a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Turnkey.
It actually gets quite a few hits. So
Nice.
I like to showcase some of our bigger jobs on it.
Yeah.
I'm actually started filming this week videos of. I've been losing a lot of employees in the first week, so intro videos on what is shoring, what you're working,
Wow.
That's cool because we're going to
Excellent.
talk about that right now.
so we can onboard them easier and faster.
We got.
Wait a second. Just before we go any farther, are you losing them because of cave-ins?
No,
There's no cave-ins on the turkey shoring site.
What's wrong with? Why would you
Well, he
say
said he
that?
was losing a whole bunch.
No, why would you?
And he
say-
wanted to educate a whole bunch of people.
The general problem is you hire people that don't want to work and they want to get their wage subsidy from the government. That's the
So
issue.
that's the
Yeah.
game that they're playing right now.
That's the game they're playing right
I thought
now.
that was an American game. It's still a Canadian
I'm
game, man.
experiencing in Canada right now.
Wow.
I wouldn't. If I worked for you, I would love it because I could just imagine you're feeding your guys amazing.
No, I don't think this happens every day.
Well, we're actually having a barbecue this week
What
in
the
our office.
See?
Where do we apply?
Friday. Oh, well, come right in, see Sam over.
We apply Friday. Let's go.
All right, so on with this show. We got a lot to talk about, but Carlito,
We have history with Manny.
I think, Matt, you know these segments, don't you? Yeah, you're familiar with them, right? You might know this information. Carlito,
Here it goes again.
can somebody at this table tell me what's the deepest hole that anybody's ever dug in the world?
Wow.
And where?
Well, it was probably me because I've dug some really deep holes.
No, we are talking about Mother Russia. We're actually talking about Murmansky, Russia. 1970, scientists started drilling the Kola super deep borehole. It went down 12,262 meters, about 7.5 miles.
Wow.
It took 24 years. They wanted to actually try to get to the center of the earth.
To what? Destroy it?
So,
There's another realm in there. There's another world underneath
no, the problem
planet.
is after 24 years, it got too hot. It was getting as hot as 356 Fahrenheit.
Drilling the hole.
Drilling, and it was mostly water down there. But that's all. They just to give you a perspective, they only drilled at 12,262 meters, which is 7.5 miles. They only drilled 2% of the way of the Earth.
Wow.
2% is 7.5 miles
That's
down.
crazy.
Mother Nature does not want you to go down there.
So just to give you a reference on that one, Mariana Trench, which I think we're kind of familiar from movies and stuff like that, it's the deepest part in the ocean. They're at 10,904 meters. So they actually went further than that.
Wow.
Wow.
So that was...
History with Manny. That was a really good one, Manny. I like that one.
So over to you now, Matt.
Mother Russia.
We have listeners in Russia.
Actually, I follow a bunch of Russian drillers in Russia. They post the craziest stuff.
Yeah,
of what
they
get
do some
done.
insane things
Well,
there.
I know a lot of Russians, and they're pretty crazy too.
Here we go. Here we go. What do we want to know about you, Matt, in Turnkey? When did you get started, man?
8 years ago now.
That's it? You're youngin'
Yeah.
on this then. What were you doing before?
I've been doing construction my whole life.
So when did you start?
I was 16 years
What
old.
trade did you get into?
So originally I was just working as site labor in a subdivision, you know.
Track building.
Yeah.
That must have been fun.
It was, but I was just sweeping floors and everything. It was annoying. I kind of hated it, but then I saw them starting to dig the next section of the houses, and I got into it. And like, got in with some Italian guys there. Luciano.
He's Italian.
I know Luciano does rebar.
He taught me the grade stick and taught me everything. And back in those days, we didn't really have those really fancy lasers. It was just one laser and a stick and a receiver, and
Yeah, that was
a
it.
couple bricks. And then I basically fell in love with construction
Just from digging a hole.
just from digging holes.
Not a lot of guys get into that part of the business.
Well, what actually happened later on is when I went to university because I had to. My parents said there's no choice. Went to university, came back, went back to work for a different builder now. Worked for him for 3 years, got up to like site super, and then all I remember is him, big, half Jewish, half Italian guy, goes to the shoring guy on the site, goes, "You motherfucking shoring company guys make more money than me on the house. This is bullshit." And then I was like, I need to figure out that trade.
Smart. It's true.
Was it true? It was true.
It was true. He worked it out that if you took a $100 bill and stapled it to the walls, and this was like 15 years ago now, that's how much the shoring was costing him for next to nothing, and he had to do it.
It was bylaw. It was code. You
It
had
was
to.
code, and they were
Ministry of Labor,
undermining a house
everything.
and everything. So
Wow.
That was a reference that he gave you, a $100 bill
yeah,
against a dirt wall.
yeah, against a dirt wall, and I'm like, I need
That
to
makes
learn
sense.
this trade.
That
'Cause
makes sense.
I always wanted to get.
But you caught on.
Yeah,
You stole that from them.
I was.
You
I
started
was-
collecting all those hundreds.
I wouldn't call it theft. I would call it you absorb the knowledge.
The thing about education is once someone gives it to you, they can never take it back.
Do what with you, like
Yeah.
what you want with it,
100%.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did everything in my power to learn the trade, started off my own, started a little landscape company, then got the opportunity through some friends of mine. We rented a drill and
Didn't know anything about shoring.
very little. Talked to some people in the business, figured it out.
Big machinery, man. Big toys.
You know what? It's big now that I have. The stuff I had before was tiny. Like, and I was
Okay, wait a second. What was tiny?
Tiny.
Let's hear
What
what
are we
was
talking about?
Tiny.
Okay,
okay,
machine.
an
A mini
8-ton
X,
excavator
little skid
with
steer.
an Italian drill rig attachment.
Okay.
I still remember renting it for, it was $6,000 a week.
Holy cow.
Yeah, and that was 8 years ago. And
But it was making you what a week?
I remember quoting a job from the seat of the cab, not even looking at the job, just saying, that will be $50,000 for 3 days. And the guy's like, I think your price is high. I'm like, oh, okay. I had enough work backlogged, just forgot about it. And then he calls me back. It's like, yeah, so you'll come next week? Yeah, I'll come next week. He just, it was one of those clients that like started negotiating with you, and I didn't really like him, so.
So you
Yeah.
just threw a
But
number
you like
at
them now.
Yeah, I actually done 3 more jobs for him later on, but I give him better prices now.
And that was 8 years ago.
That was 8 years ago. I was the first non-unionized shoring company out there.
Everybody else is union.
Wow.
Everyone else was union.
So were there threats? Were there...
There were threats earlier on.
Oh, really? Huh?
Yeah, couple of the people didn't like what I was doing. I was taking their work.
But you're starting a business, competition, thriving. What's the big deal?
Well, can I ask you, was there anything illegal about it? Not at all.
Not at all.
So then what does it matter, really? I guess the union companies were angry.
The union companies were angry that I was taking work, but they didn't understand. I was also educating the engineers and architects and showing them that this needs to happen. There needs to be more shoring. And then I feel like the city of Toronto started enforcing more of the shoring bylaws, which they weren't enforcing. I was working very closely with a couple engineers, and they were starting to spec it on their jobs, on their drawings. And then 3 years ago, this is what really helped, is when the city of Toronto stopped issuing permit drawings without shoring drawings accompanied, same as city of Oakville, because they didn't trust the builders to do it. Because, you get those...
It's too risky, man.
Yeah, you get some spec builders out there that are just trying to pump out the project. Actually, one of my best clients is a spec builder who says, we do shoring on every project because he could time how long it's going to take to do every trade, and he could build the house in 8 months. One trade's on site at a time. Basically, he's worried about a cave-in and talking to the neighbors. He says, I don't want to talk to my neighbors. What's the bare minimum amount of shoring you recommend? I say, my amount? And he's like, let's go.
So this is regular track building. So you're going, what,
These are custom homes. So
these are custom homes.
They're like 10 to 12 feet.
Basements.
The basements, but
Garages.
yeah. We've done
When you're getting into bigger homes like that, they become garages, underground garages, right? Ferraris, Lamborghinis.
Yeah. Those are now my bread and butter houses.
Yeah.
Like,
Good
They
for
need
you.
them because they got to keep digging.
I won't tell you the person's name because he's a quite famous Torontonian.
Okay.
The house we started for him had an underground parking garage, and I had all the steel on site. It was a $300,000 residential shoring job for me. Like, biggest job.
Just your ticket was...
Just my ticket was $300,000. And this guy shows up, and I can't, like, basically look not homeless, but did not look like he was a multimillionaire, and just starts talking about a squash court in the house. And I don't know. I don't work for this guy. I work for the GC. And the GC comes back later. It's like, yeah, the job's on hold. I'm like, why? It's like, we got to put a squash court in the basement too.
So you got to go deeper?
I love
or you
squash,
gotta
by
go,
the way.
I love squash too, but I don't think I'll ever have a squash court in my basement.
Are you going deeper? Are you going wider? What was
Going
this?
deeper.
Going deeper.
On the whole basement, because it was just a drive-in underground parking garage in the back, but now I wanted a squash court in the front too.
Must be nice, huh?
And then all the steel I had on site was now essentially garbage.
Well, it's funny because...
So what happens in that situation?
I bring back the steel to I had to give him some sort of credit, but all the steel was cut to size for that job.
For that job, and now it was changed.
Yeah.
Were you able to use that on another project?
Eventually, yeah.
So the squash court, I guess that had to go to 20 feet. Because the squash court's about 16 feet high.
Yeah, I think the overall cut there was a little bit deeper because they had to... I think it was 22 feet in the front and 18 in the back for the parking
There must have been like a couple sub pumps then.
Wow, that's crazy, man. And that was what, one of your first big jobs, or
That was one of my first bigger jobs. I was in year 2.
Okay, so let's get back into let's go to daycare. Can we just kind of not dumb down shoring, but let's just explain shoring to everybody, right? And let's explain proper shoring.
General shoring, which means holding up a structure or anything, but I perform engineered earth retention shoring.
Okay.
I don't shore up buildings. I don't shore up houses.
Trenches.
I don't shore up walls. Trenches. Yeah, no. Tony cause shore, box shoring. He's the best for that. I don't do any of that.
You do earth.
I just do earth shoring for holding up houses, infrastructure, dirt. More and more in the city of Toronto with the tree people. Trees.
So you're actually bracing the houses. I thought when you were saying shoring, you were doing more like excavation of the soil away from the home, but you're actually supporting the home.
Yes.
Wow.
Because you're building so close to it.
Exactly.
And you can't do an angle cut, right? So you gotta go straight, and you gotta go right to their property line.
So by code in Toronto, you're allowed a 4-foot vertical cut, and then it's a 10 to 7 out, but it's more or less a 1-to-1. The Ministry of Labor will let you do. In the city of Toronto, you know how close these houses are
it's
together.
insane.
Like you'll
Yeah,
never
2 feet.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky.
never get that.
Arm's reach, man. So your next door neighbor. That's all it is. So that's what you started doing. Going back to the very beginning of it, I mean, it wasn't intimidating. Like you didn't You didn't study this. You didn't learn under a person. You didn't.
Manny, I love working.
Okay.
I dig in. Like when I find something, I'll study it, figure out every aspect of it, research it to death. And I love getting my hands dirty. I love trying things. Like I was supposed to be an accountant.
Is that what you went to university for?
That's what I went to university
Wow,
for.
I can't imagine that, man.
Well, your numbers are good.
50K. Okay.
I do a mean budget.
300 and 50,000 for the squash court.
You're the only guy I know, really. Like online, I know that. Like you're the only shoring guy that I really know. I don't know how many guys are out there that are also doing what you're doing.
There's been about 4 or 5 that popped up
Since
me, but as far as I know, I was the only one non-union that came into the market in Toronto.
Well, that's a question that Carlita wants to ask you. Why did you go non-union? Why didn't you go union?
Manny's speaking for me, but that would be the question I'd be asking.
I was not allowed to join the union when I was originally working
Why not?
because they didn't really want me. They didn't want a young kid, just laborer. So I was not invited. So I said,
What? I've never heard of such a thing.
yeah, I called the guy. He never called me back. I was kind of offended. I was like, well, and then I was told to join the union, you have to know someone in the house and you got to pay your dues. And I didn't really get that whole thing. And
Kind of sounds like a little bit of a mafia.
Well, you know, it's who you know.
Do you have to kiss the ring? Is that what's going on?
No,
here?
you either have to do school. You have to do schooling towards university, like you took university for accounting, but you didn't take anything for construction, so it had to be kind of work related, right?
yeah.
For you to be coming in off the street.
Yeah. So they wanted me to pick something I was going to work in.
It's usually family and friends that get in first. I mean, it's typical of that,
yeah.
right?
And well, the other thing I realized years later, I was trying to get in a labor union when I really wanted to get in the operators.
What is that, 764 or something?
Yeah, I picked the wrong one right off the hop.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, so maybe I was asking the wrong questions at the time.
Yeah, they
but-
were like, okay, this guy's gone.
Yeah.
But
Thank
either
God
way,
they didn't take you, though.
But either way, somebody offended you, and you came up with this,
yeah. So
which is generally the story with a lot of successful things,
yeah.
right? That's
Well,
how it
let's talk
works.
about how dangerous this is. Like, we're making jokes and we're having fun, but your job is a dangerous job.
No, his job.
You have
is
a lot of responsibility,
His job,
and that's why you're paying so much for it.
his service is an important job. It's an important service. I wouldn't say it's dangerous. It's dangerous in the wrong hands. Same thing with a gun, dude. You know that. You've
What?
told me this before.
It's true.
Okay, a gun is not dangerous. It's whose hand that's holding that gun.
right.
So his business is an important business, and the way he runs that business, that's important.
No, but you could imagine you're probably holding up really old buildings that, if any,
Oh, they're every time's a challenge, and I don't know. I have a love-hate with engineers because they feed me work, but you still see engineering that comes out and like, oh, what the hell did you guys dream up? Like 6x6 posts to hold up a 20-foot house? Like that's not going
And
to
you
work.
question them, and they actually never really answer you.
No.
Like they don't. It's I don't know. How, it's not. They give you an answer, but it's not an answer.
And they put these darn notes on their drawings saying like, if conditions aren't ideal, my engineer.
As per
stipulations.
you,
Yeah.
as per you,
Yeah.
it's all your
that's
fault.
covering them legally.
Yeah. So like you can't
That's
hold them
funny.
to anything. So
So I thought you used metal.
we do.
Okay, so when they said 6x6, you're talking about 6x6 I-beams or square stock steel.
We buy I-beams in volume, and my go-to sizes are 16 by 31 and 18 by 40. Just general I-beams. The first number is how wide the flange is, and then the second number is the weight per foot. In the last 2 years, I standardized what we buy to get better quantity discounts and everything, and just get more
efficient.
competitive. Yeah. Because with more competitors, they're cutting your bottom line. So you're trying to get economies of scale here, drive down your price. So we standardize all our installs.
I just saw the accountant come out in you.
Yeah.
If anyone could, yeah, I know you guys are listening, but if you could watch this, you could see the accountant.
But you can hear the typewriter.
The other thing is I see other people design these projects with like 8-inch beams and 10-inch beams, and they're telling me I'm using steel that's too big, but they forget the fact that steel's a commodity. Who cares what size the steel is? It's the weight of the steel. So they're installing 54 pounds a foot. I'm installing 30 pounds a foot. I'm getting a stronger section of the steel because it's wider, And
You explain this to them, and they just don't.
just goes like
right over.
They don't understand it.
right over the head. I have an engineer on staff. He goes to the site with this blue book of the guide to steel, and it's like the deflection of this beam equals this, so we're allowed to use it.
And they just don't get that.
They don't get that, but I love it because they work for some of my competitors. So they're already.
So it's kind of like having a spy that's kind of feeding the wrong information.
He says, "I love it."
It's made my business successful, which is
Not
great.
only buy the steel cheaper than them, but I use.
Okay,
Should we be letting people know this?
are you saying that more accountants should get into shoring?
I think more accountants should get into construction. That's what should happen. All right, so you started off with what kind of a machine?
It was a CF3 test car on a Hitachi Carrier straight from Italy.
Straight from Italy.
Straight
Wow,
from
sounds
Italy.
fancy already.
Right off the boat.
Right off the boat. The Italians invented shoring as we know it.
They know a thing about digging.
What's the city built on?
Venice.
Venice, yeah.
Venice.
It's all built on piles.
Yeah.
they know
Yeah,
what they're
Croatian trees, by the way.
doing. Really?
Yeah, they chopped down a massive
Wait
forest
a
in
minute,
Croatia
wait.
to
Last
to
week
build
he
that city.
tried to convince the audience
No, no,
that
no.
PL is actually used on the shuttle. Okay.
Yeah,
And I
from
said,
NASA. Hey, look it up. I'm not,
it's what's holding all the tiles on the shuttle. Okay.
he doesn't believe anything.
No,
you know?
I don't believe
He
it.
hasn't Googled it
So
yet, but
I
he's
don't
still
believe-
talking.
I don't
Listen, Don Cherry.
I do not believe there's creation
Look
wood
it up, man.
in Venice.
Look it up.
So you're telling me a NASA scientist goes, PL is okay? Like this Home Depot product? I feel like there'd be so many.
It was originally invented for the space shuttle.
Why didn't they go no
the-
more nails?
You're so stupid.
The gorilla.
You know
Glue
what?
stuff.
I'll make one up. That was for the arrow.
All right.
It got shut down.
Okay, so that was the first machine. But okay, how many toys you got nowadays?
So I actually just sold the CF3.
The original one that you
The
using?
original one I sold.
Oh,
It
you
was-
should have never done that.
You know what? It did break my heart, and I sold it locally.
You should have stuck it right in the shop in the center, man.
He's a hoarder.
It was, you know what? I wanted to. but
Sentimental.
I needed. I get sentimental too, but I needed the cash for another machine I purchased.
Italian?
All Italian.
All Italian.
All Italian.
Okay, wait. Is it really Italian or does it just say made in Italy?
Okay, so that's my biggest issue with espresso makers these days. But we'll-
Let's talk about that.
Okay, let's cut out of what we're talking about for espresso machines.
What is the issue with espresso machines?
Okay. You buy all these fancy Italian espresso makers.
Go on, please. I want him to hear this
Yeah.
because I've had this discussion with him.
And they all get shipped from China.
Thank you.
China-
Or how about this one? They have Chinese people working in Italy.
Hang on a sec.
For nothing.
Where are the beans
Putting-
coming from?
My beans I get from, they're roasted in Oakville.
From where originally?
It's a blend they use
Costa
from
Rica.
Africa and some
Okay,
other
so I'm not
places.
hearing China on the beans.
But
No.
you don't understand. The machine quality cannot cannot do a decent espresso.
So
It
which
has to get
machine? What machine should we be using?
the Rocket from Milan, Italy. It's made in Italy with Italian parts.
I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do know which one.
Wait a
you're
second.
talking
Can you? We at the beginning of the podcast before we had the mic on, you were saying that you were from what?
I'm from Canada, baby.
I know, but
He's
you
a
had,
Canadian.
you had a term.
Oh,
Quaker.
Quaker.
No, Quaker Oat.
Oh yeah. Quaker on my dad's side. But I assure you, it's the best Quaker espresso
I
you'll get
swear
here.
you disconnected from your family roots, man. You're Italian for sure.
about. We got to get rid of all the Chinese, basically espresso machines.
It doesn't get the coffee hot enough. It doesn't doesn't put enough pressure on the beans.
On the beans on the ground. Okay.
Yeah, so
wow.
you don't get all the full flavor extraction from your espresso.
This is important stuff, Carlito.
I see Manny.
Yeah.
If you guys
This
can
is
look at
important
Manny right
stuff,
now,
man.
he's drooling.
This is important stuff. Okay. You bought the machine now.
Yeah, so I
Are we talking about espresso still?
No, he veered off. He veered off. Was the actual
Sorry.
new excavator?
We've never had this happen, by the way.
I'll actually go back to my whole problem with Chinese implements.
Perfect. Let's
because
listen to it.
In my first machine, I went out and bought $70,000 worth of
Bits.
Chinese augers that were supposed to be European spec.
And how
I
did
still
you?
have them in my yard. I fucking hate them. They're scrap metal, but I keep them as a reminder, don't buy cheap tools.
Wow. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Like
Excellent.
like Hilti?
It's not made in China.
No Hilti, no Hilti.
American, baby.
No, I thought Hilti was German.
German American?
Oh, okay. All right. So you keep him there as a reminder.
Yeah, a reminder, no cheap tools. Because the right pitch on the auger with the right tooth will cut through that soil faster than anything you see. On our new drills, you put one of those Chinese augers on, you're 45 minutes to drill a hole. And you put a proper Italian or American-made auger, depending what the situation is. I find the Italians are better for clay, sandy soils, and the Americans are better for harder rocks.
Really?
Yeah. We're 7 to 12 minutes a hole. We'll drill 35 feet.
You're 5 times less? Like
Oh,
5 times? Wow.
It's 1/3 operator, 1/3 machine, 1/3 tooling. That's
What you've worked it out to.
That's what I worked it out to. And I believe it's with your trades too, as like,
It's the same thing.
yeah, a tile setter. You don't have the right trowel. You can't get that mud on the wall properly.
Yeah, or the right tile machine. Like I just got a job because nobody could cut a 50-inch tile.
See, 100%. And
So everybody was great tile setters, but no one could lay the tile because they didn't have the machine. So I got the job.
beautiful. And you get to charge a premium for having the right machines.
Yeah, and everyone was making fun of me for spending so much money on it. It just keeps making me money.
If you guys ever come to my shop and see my tool collection, like I still have
I'm totally coming to your shop
Okay,
now.
all right. So now that you've opened that can of worms, what kind of tool collection are we talking about here?
Well, I got everything you need.
But what
Hilti?
brand? What brand?
Okay, so depending what
The
it's
job.
for, depending
Okay.
on the job and what you're using it for.
All right.
I'm loyal to Still
Okay.
for their quick cuts and chainsaws.
You haven't gone on the battery craze?
Eco or Echo?
There's not enough power in the
No,
batteries.
I know.
I heard Echo's doing better than Still now, though. Have you gone that route yet?
I haven't tried it. We tried the Husqvarna saws.
How was that?
You know what? The quick cuts had more power than the Still quick cuts, but we buy way more chainsaws than quick cuts.
Okay.
So I wanted one brand for everything and one person to service everything. And my service provider for the small tools just said Still's the best. So I'm at MS250s on the chainsaws with 60-inch blades, and then the same 420 quick cuts. Those are bulletproof. You can't go wrong. Easy fix. Fix a cord. We stock it.
Who takes care of your maintenance? You guys take care of it yourself?
Pull cords we will. After that, we have a pile in the yard, and we go to a guy named Boss Equipment, Dom.
Oh, I know Dom.
Dom is...
I've been trying to get Dom on the show.
I will personally
I don't
call
think it's Dom. It's just Dom.
No, I want to get Dominic on the show. I really want to get him on because I'm sure he has thousands of stories of these tools that come in that he fixes for these guys.
So I
right?
bought a DeWalt chipping gun.
Here we go.
I gave
This
it
sounds
to
like
my
gonna be a
best
good story.
worker. He comes back to me 3 days later, foreign guy from Eastern Europe. I can't remember what country. He goes, boss.
Croatia.
Yeah, probably Croatia. He's like, I broke this. I am really sorry. Could I have my Bosch chipping hammer back?
Wow.
Yeah. The Bosch, all tools break. We all know that. But if you buy the Bosch ones, you could fix them. Dom services them. Not so much I don't like the Bosch battery ones either. I don't like any of the battery.
I like cord, man.
I like
I'm a cord guy still,
I like
too.
that 15 amp cord.
Yeah.
But I brought the DeWalt one to Dom, and he couldn't fix it. He couldn't get parts. DeWalt wasn't going to warranty it either.
How young was this tool? Like,
Brand new. The sales rep was trying to get me to convert.
Can I make a deal with you?
that's interesting
I
because
wanna-
this show is brought to you by DeWalt.
I want
Shit, really?
No.
Because I thought you were...
Hey,
We just like doing
Just
that,
so you
that's
know, we are not policed here, and we have no loyalty to anyone except for what works.
That's not exactly true. We've got a podcast coming up for Bosch.
Yeah, okay.
But that's just us tucking tools.
yeah.
That's all it's going to
but
be.
The loyalty is to what works.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
We're not ever
I love Matt's reaction.
We're not endorsing anything for money here. There's no money being endorsed. So
Because I love Bosch for their chipping guns and their rotary drills and their tools for those applications.
They're
But then-
great.
They're great.
can I ask you something? Have you tried a Hilti cut saw?
I've never tried the Hilti.
I'm going to
cut
lend you
saw.
mine.
Okay.
I want you to use it and tell me what you think.
Deal. I've never tried that, but I tried their chipping guns, and the guys still preferred the Bosch.
Wow.
What was the reason why?
Just how it hit, it was able to
A
clean
deeper,
soil.
clean break.
Yeah.
They're
They-
both weigh about the same. They both
both same
handle the
weights and
same.
everything. It's just-
Okay, just the way they hit.
It's also a comfort issue now. Like, I think we have, we'll have to ask Dom, but he does my inventory. I think we have 18, 20 chipping guns.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a smell outfit.
You got a big crew, man.
No. I don't have a big crew, but I need to have the tools working. Every crew gets redundancies. So every crew goes out with 3 chipping guns. They only need 2. One breaks, goes in the back of the truck, the new one comes out.
There's no phone call.
What about air
no
chippers? You're not using air chippers?
Air chippers do work better, but on the smaller jobs, it's a lot of work to set up the air compressor and then set up the tools, and then in the winter.
Not really. All you're doing is putting a little bit of fluid in it just to keep the lines from not freezing, and it's diesel.
It's hard because you got to move the compressor along, move the hoses, and then in the winter time, those lines freeze, and we've had some issues with that. And I just find it generally easier to use the Bosch.
You just need more alcohol, my friend.
But I buy the generators from Canadian Tire on sale.
Oh,
That's all you need.
You buy Champion.
I buy the Champion
And they
ones.
last forever. I remember DGR. He did there was a big blowout on Canadian Tire one day, and all of a sudden he went to go buy 6 of them.
Dude, you could buy secondhand military generators, man, like $5,000.
Here's the thing. It's not even those generators. They work 2 years, and then I sell them on Kijiji for half of what I paid for them.
Wow.
So, like, I've noticed now with tools, and if you buy the Bosch...
So you're just cycling through them before their life expectancy kind of comes up.
And I got a great deal with Dom at Boss Equipment. All he does is, hey, Matt, this chipping gun or this chainsaw is kind of at end of life.
Wow.
It's going to cost you a lot to fix if it comes back to me. We put it back together. I put it on Kijiji, say, give me your offer. And I'm usually selling the tools for half of what I paid.
If someone gets it, at least they have some money to fix it.
Yeah. And
that's fantastic.
Okay,
it's a
so
win-win.
next time you see Dom, get him on the show.
I will have him on the show.
He has to. I know he's got dozens of stories, like tools.
Oh, that guy knows so much about tools.
I know. That's why I want to talk to that guy. And every
I
brand.
want to talk motors with them.
Yeah.
Everything.
Well, he's loyal to Honda Motors. That's why he likes the Champion.
Everybody
equipment.
is.
Yeah.
Then
Champions
Kawasaki.
is on the same?
They're the same motors.
Honda for me, and then Kawasaki second, and then I don't even want to talk about the rest.
Gas engines, Honda's my favorite, but when you get to the diesels, I like my Isuzu engines and Kubota engines.
Wow.
Those are my favorite there. But
We have to do a little segment now.
Oh, do we? Okay, well, let's talk building code talk with Manny today.
Can you gentlemen, I'm sure, Matt, you probably know this. Carlito can give it a try.
Man, he's been on a roll lately, man. He's like my big sister, you know what I mean?
On a regular housing foundation wall dig excavation.
Say that again. Sorry.
On a regular house foundation wall excavation, how far back does the earth have to be from the foundation placement?
1 meter.
Is it 1 meter? I've got 30 inches. Yeah, that's 1 meter, basically. Okay. You knew it.
It's
right
under by a lot.
So what's the highest you have to go before you actually start having to add shoring?
4 feet. Anything over 4 feet, you need shoring unless it's approved by a geotech.
These are easy
And
ones.
why
for 'em.
geotech?
These are easy ones for them.
What's that?
Well,
Because if you go certain parts, especially out here, you're digging in the rock.
so they want to know if it's sand, soil,
Yeah.
or rock.
And you could dig.
So it's a geologist, basically, for people
Exactly.
listening.
Yeah.
So that was
Building code talk with Manny.
it was an easy one for Matt, man. I made it easy. Carlito had no clue. I didn't know either.
This guy's an accountant. He's got everything figured out.
So we're talking to Matt at Turnkey Shoring on IG, and it's www.turnkeyss.ca, info at turnkeyss.ca, and also the YouTube channel Turnkey.
Yeah.
We're talking everything to do with shoring. Let's talk about soil. Let's talk about soil conditions in Toronto. Have you dug anywhere else outside of Toronto, or how far away have you gone?
We've gone to Kingston, Collingwood, London, Hamilton.
How's Hamilton? What's in there?
if you're not on the hill, it's this cobbly, sandy soil. It's great drilling. If you get on top of the mountain, it's the hardest fucking rock I ever seen in my life.
How did you drill through that?
Is it lime? What is
Chipping?
it? Armor stone one? What is
I think it's dolomite or something. It's a
Dolomite?
Dolomite. It can't be dolomite.
It's
Dude, that's like a huge fucking deposit. I'm going to go start picking.
Yeah, everyone's gonna picture Carlito up in the mountain there.
Term it was for that soil, but like we just finished a job on Upper James Street, and we were getting like on a normal day we're 300 feet a day. I think we were drilling like 30 feet a day.
Wow. So that changes your quotes when you come out there, then, eh?
Yeah, so we then again switched to the American core buckets. We put these really, really small, fine teeth on with carbide tips.
And it would just grab it. It would just
Just slowly grind it. And then the powder that gets made when you're grinding gets lodged into the bucket, which then you snap off your core, and then you get like these poker chips coming up, giant earth poker chips.
Wow.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, when you guys come by the yard, I keep a lot
Oh,
of
you
them.
keep it them?
I keep the
That's
trophies.
wicked,
So I guess you've
man.
done it long enough.
Trophies.
Trophies. It's not science, not lamps, man. What's wrong with you? So you know enough of the soil conditions all over the place that if someone's giving you a job and they send it over to you, that you already have an idea.
We have the geotechnical maps in the office too.
So they give you that.
But we did 184 jobs last year, so I have a general sense of where everything is. And
Have you hit gold?
no.
There's no gold in the
The
earth.
closest I get are these bottles from the old ash plants, and my driver actually found out one was worth $700.
Wow.
A bottle,
A bottle. We keep them in the yard.
not broken.
Not broken.
How far down?
That's so
It
cool.
was on
man.
the top layer. It was easy.
Oh, okay, all right.
So right from beginning to end, what are people expecting for you to do when you show up?
We generally show up right after the site's been demolished and flattened. It doesn't have to be it just has to be a flat surface. Doesn't have to be exactly level. And then we'll figure out from the surveyor where the property lines are and where the house is. Sometimes on the residential sites, all commercial sites, they peg where the shoring goes. But sometimes it's hard with some builders. They don't know exactly what they're looking at. I also very much believe builders should be licensed in the city of Toronto.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Honestly.
It's just too
Just
much.
because, like, you're okay, driver's license. You're driving around with a 3-ton piece of machinery that can kill people, and you're building a house that could kill people if it's not built properly.
Exactly.
I agree with you. Totally.
What problems are you having with the builders? Like what makes you feel that way? Like next to the danger part, what is it that's the problem?
So one was a site super, and I was having an argument on the elevation of the house, and I could read elevations. I could read pretty much quicker than anyone. He's like, well, how did you get this number? How did you get this number? But it's like, what do they all mean? I'm like, they're elevations from sea level. He's like, no, man, they're not like that. They're like, no, 100%. They're the elevations of sea level. They're all set from sea level. It's like, so I don't remember the number, but it's like
He went up to his cottage and got his boat? Is that what he was going to do? So he can get his measurements? Like, doesn't this guy understand this, man?
Every drawing has it. Like, so
Yeah.
Never done
Well,
their
why
dues.
is that on a construction site that if someone doesn't know the information, they got to test you or...
Well, some guys think some guys pretend they're quizzing you, and really they're actually learning. I've been a supervisor for companies, and I've seen other supervisors. And I have friends that are supervisor. You know, they're growing in the business. They're still green. There's so much to learn as a supervisor.
You got to learn every single day.
You could be in a huge building division and not know anything, but still pull a magic trick out and make everyone believe that you know what's going on.
Yeah,
Don't you still learn every single day, Matt?
every day.
That's the point of this whole industry. That's why it's actually a
100%.
really amazing industry, because you can learn every single day.
The powers of Instagram too. It's amazing. I get to see people on how they do things. And I follow some guys in Russia and how they put hard surfacing on their augers to get through the rock. And I actually took the tips from them and implemented it in my yard. And then,
Well, I mean, in all fairness, they're going to know a thing or two about doing extreme building, man. Like,
Yeah.
like talking about that hole. I mean, like, who came up with that? Yuri? Like, some guy there, he actually came up with that. So there's got to be a reason behind that. I know that when I did a pour video, it went to Russia and it exploded to 500,000 views.
Yeah, I saw even more. You got even more than that.
I was like, this is crazy.
that was
Just-
one
from
day.
Russia.
just mostly from Russia, and then once it hit Middle East and Russia, they flipped out.
I
over
wonder if it falls in
concrete.
time zones too. When
Could
you
be.
post.
It could be.
12 hours later, it's big in Russia.
So you get a lot of guys asking those kinds of. So I can see your posts out there, and they're probably asking, okay, what kind of bit you're using there?
Oh yeah, I have a great network. We share information where we buy stuff. We ship it in worldwide. So like, I got some guys in Germany. I got some guys in Italy. One in Spain I talked to. It's interesting.
I love hearing that, man.
I want to
honestly.
I want to keep in the same topic, but do you travel a lot to find new products? Like Manny spends like every year he tries to get me to all the shows in Vegas, here in the States.
No luck.
Do you travel a lot?
Every year there's two types of traveling I do, for work and for pleasure. Every time I travel for pleasure, my girlfriend hates it or fiance.
Because you're paying attention.
Well, hang on. Get this right again.
I was supposed to be married in May. It's June. I'm getting married 3 weeks from now, so fiance. But
Congratulations, by the way.
Well, they're letting weddings happen now with 10 people. So if you got 10 people, go ahead and do it.
we got 17 in Cambridge. I don't know how she did it, but
Cambridge, I think, is stage 3 now, isn't it? It's just ETA is stage 2.
I don't know. I don't follow the rules.
Go
anymore.
further away, you'll get stage 3.
No,
can
all
bring
you need is
everybody.
longer tables.
All right, so you're traveling personal, and you're probably doing what we do.
I was in Thailand and I saw a construction site and they were doing the shoring there. You know what? They weren't wearing safety gear. I walked right in. I hung out there for 30 minutes. She got so mad at me.
Why? You're learning.
I was taking.
But don't they use
videos.
bamboo?
You're learning.
There's no metal there, man. It's bamboo.
Don't get racist, man.
I'm not.
Don't.
I'm being serious. They do everything out of bamboo.
Are you telling me the shoring was bamboo?
No, the shoring was all concrete. They had their own concrete plant on site, though.
Yeah, I was asking. It was a real question. It wasn't.
Everything above grade's bamboo, probably.
Their scaffolding is bamboo.
It might have sounded like a joke, but I was being serious.
No, but I do the exact same thing. When I was in Italy, I saw some guys doing concrete work, and they were actually digging down, and I looked into the hole as far as I could, and I saw all the network and the cable and how they did everything, and I was like, that's how you learn, man.
Yeah, you take pictures of it, you analyze it, you go talk to someone.
That's how you learn. So she can't get mad for that.
No. It's
You
fun
know
at the
what?
time.
She knows what she married.
Yeah, that's what I told her.
Listen, one thing I tell people, we're all predictable and we don't change. We can change, but it takes a lot. It takes dramatic things to happen in your life for a real big change.
How do you say we're all predictable? We can't change.
We're all
It can
predictable.
change, but it takes a lot.
I can always guarantee that he's going to go on vacation and never be 100% of the vacation. It'll be 50% work. I can guarantee that you'll pull a Don Cherry on every episode.
That's not true. That's not. What else have you seen, Matt, in other places of the world?
I always look at their processes on how they do it, and I compare it to our processes and what equipment they're using and what type of tooling they're using during those processes.
So if you put it towards like if you put it number one country, number two country, who's doing the best to say the third? Like best company, second, our country. Sorry.
You're talking strictly like shoring,
Yeah,
right?
like best
excavation kind of
techniques.
It's hard because like the Europeans really perfected shoring, but like there's a company out in the States called Malcolm Drilling who do the craziest projects and the bridge projects they do all along
commercial
the States.
industrial projects.
Commercial industrial.
So they're holding up the bridge while they're doing excavation or core digging or drilling.
So yeah, but the Europeans are they're
Mountains, concrete houses, buildings.
Did you say mountains?
Yeah.
So wait, didn't you go to Bama 2 years ago?
No, I didn't go.
you didn't go?
Will Gunnell went to Bama.
Okay.
So he was there. He was blown away by it. I want to go there.
I do prefer Con Expo, which I skipped this year because of COVID.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But Bama was the second best construction show I went to.
Really, yeah?
Yeah. It has more equipment.
Okay.
I like the American stuff. It's more geared for us. The European stuff was...
It's a little more... Yeah, I know you're saying, but I like that a lot more European stuff is entering into the Canadian market. I find almost that it's entering the Canadian more than the U.S. market.
I agree. Yeah.
And I think because we're a little more open to trying new ideas and new products.
But you know what's funny is like, okay, I'm not doing excavation like you or coring, but all my best machines in tiling are all Italian.
Isn't that interesting?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Or it goes Italian, German. It bounces back and forth.
So that's
and
the
then
same
the
with
next
my
one will be
industry.
American. Like once in a while, I see a Canadian thing come up where I'm like, oh, that was cool, Canada.
A Canadian?
Right on.
What Canadian tiling products?
No, I'm just saying like a tool that I'm using. I once in a while somebody will say, well, that's from Canada. I'll be like, wow, that's wicked, great. You know what I mean?
I don't know any.
I don't know any.
tools.
Exactly.
I'm not talking about coring. I'm just talking about
No, tiling tools.
Yeah.
I don't know any Canadian tiling tools.
I'm talking about tools in general. I wasn't like I mentioned that my best tools
I just keep having
in
this
tiles
image
were
of
Italian.
Mastercraft.
Like
What's going
everything
But hey, I love my Mastercraft tools. All my hand tools are Mastercraft.
for home.
For home. No, for home and work. Those.
Hang on. We just lost. It just lost connection there.
I had one of my grandfather's spanners. I broke.
That's different.
Hang on
I
a sec.
brought
Just a
it
second
years
there.
ago.
I totally forgot. He's a 5th generation caker. I totally forgot, man. All
Listen,
that Italian
anything-
talk and Thailand talk.
I do shop at Canadian Tire, but I've noticed that I usually buy stuff for my farm equipment. I usually go Princess Auto or I go Canadian Tire for my farming stuff, like fix my tractors and stuff. but they all break. The only thing that keeps me coming back is the warranty. Every time it breaks, they give me a better one.
Yeah, of course they will. They'll replace
It's no questions. You hand it to them, like go
And
get
they
another
give
one
you
on the
it.
shop.
I know.
I love that warranty. Like,
Yeah, now you need a receipt though.
COVID wasn't really affecting you, was it?
I went from I was 70 guys last year this time.
Wow.
And during COVID, we went down to 15.
Oh, so
And
that's a
it was
big.
hard because like all my guys have families, mortgages. Like it is tough.
Are you back to surviving now?
I'm back to around 50, 55 now.
That's not too bad. The other guys found other places to go work at, or are they just at home collecting?
So some guys didn't want to come back to work because they're scared, and I fully respect that. A couple I just didn't want to invite back because they didn't have enough work. You know, every company has a shovel holder.
Of course.
But all the guys I have back now, minus one who's sitting at home because he doesn't want to come back to work, are rock stars, like pure rock stars.
Wow, that's
good to
great to
hear.
hear, man.
Yeah.
Mostly Italian.
I only have one Italian I brought in from Italy. Great
So you got a lot
operator.
of Portuguese guys then.
Portuguese. Yeah, Portuguese, Filipinos.
Wait, hang on a sec. You sponsoring this? No creations though.
Yeah, I've only like when I've seen any excavation, I've only seen very few Filipinos. It's usually like Portuguese, Italians. Like that's typically where it's at.
Filipinos, really?
I have an army of Filipino welders. The best welders I have are my Filipinos. They fabricate anything. I dreamt I like to build my own tools too. I built this concrete hopper for my skid steer. I'm not sure you guys saw it on my Instagram. I just posted it randomly on the gram, and I sold 12 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, people are like, that's a great idea. I need that. We fabricate it from scratch. We make our own blank for the skid steer attachment. It moves just less than a meter of concrete. It's amazing. And
What brand skid steer are you?
Kubota, only Kubota.
Only Kubota.
Wow.
It's like Mike, because when we had Mike here from Magcor, because I know you guys are good buddies, he was the same thing. You taught him a lot about which machinery to go.
The problem with machinery, it's not only just the machine you're buying, but it's who's going to service that machine, because they, like you said, they all break. The Kubota dealer in Toronto, Cooey Brothers, has
Love
been
them.
first class for after sales service. Like,
Right off the 401 there.
right off the 401.
Yeah.
That's where I go to.
Yeah, I started buying my Stihl chainsaws from them also, just because the service was so good. The price isn't better, but the service.
But you're running a business and you want to know that you have that extension of service, right? Because you have, like you said, you've got 3 redundancy just
exactly.
in case. So they need to back you as much as you're going to.
So
Well, they're huge in Kubota too. Like that's pretty much what they sell.
yeah, that's
Well, they dibble dabble a little bit on some other machines, but it's all Kubota pretty much.
it's yeah. I guess it's 80% Kubota, but I also cut them a deal now that I buy all my equipment from them. So when equipment goes in for service or warranty, they give me a loaner for free. So I don't even have to rent a machine.
Oh, wow.
This is like buying a car.
Yeah.
So what were you using before Kubota?
I was using Bobcats and Takahachis.
What did you find of those two? Personal opinion. There's nothing like.
So this is my own 2 cents on Bobcat. Bobcat was the best skid steer on the market back in the day, but ever since they got bought by Doosan, they became a lot.
Where did they drop the ball? What happened?
Maintenance, right?
Maintenance, their exhaust system, and I had a bunch of electronic issues with mine. And I also feel like they weren't weighted properly because they were taking a tired skid steer, putting the tracks on.
Yeah.
So it would always back end would drop into softer soil. I wouldn't skip across the soil. The best skid steer on the market for me on tracks, hands down, is Takahachis. I love that. It's got the Yanmar diesel engine on it. It's bulletproof. It pushes harder than any other skid steer I experience. Operator comfort isn't there though. It's a very basic Japanese machine, but more power than anything else for its price class.
Good to know.
Yeah.
So obviously you've been to World of Concrete and checked out all the toys.
Oh, I love it.
Everything, yeah, all that kind of shit, eh?
So who makes Kubota?
Kubota,
No, but like what? Not like is it
Japanese.
Japan? It's also Japanese.
Yeah.
So is Makita.
I know that. And Toshima.
They make good products, man. That country makes good products.
It's a great product.
Yeah.
You know, they stand behind it. They give you a 2-year warranty. Like, can't go wrong.
Well, you got to buy a product. You got to service it. You got to calculate how much you're going to get out of it before you have to let go of it. Or that's how running a business is, man.
Every machine I've gone to sell, right after I sell it, I do a calculation of cost of ownership. I want to know exactly how much that machine cost me. And I want to figure out how long it they all depreciate the same amount of time, 5 years. If you want to find the true cost of ownership and then spread it out over the life of the machine, so I know how much it hit my books.
And that factors into your decision making on what's a good machine that you bought, right?
Exactly.
So recently, Bobcats were dropping the ball. Your cost of ownership was
It
increased.
was through the roof.
Yeah.
And the downtime on them was huge.
I see the city using a lot of John Deere's and cases. Have you tried any of them yet?
I learned on a case skid, so the 95 XT, first machine I was ever in. I still visualize it. I love to buy a 95 XT and just park it in front of my yard as sentimental
I
stuff.
find it really funny that we're talking about machines the same way you'd be talking about cars.
Or Harleys or like
bikes. You know what I'm saying?
A Ferrari.
I want to park it in front of.
There's nothing I love more than my equipment. Like,
You know what? I'm a Massey guy for farm equipment.
Oh, yeah?
So I love tractors. So when we're driving down the road and I see a tractor, my wife's like, stop it.
I have the same thing with cranes and excavators. My fiance's like, keep your eyes on the road.
They don't get it. They'll never
So
get
what
it.
about John Deere? Anything good? Anything bad that you've
I
heard?
love John Deere. I don't love their skidsters. I find them heavy.
Backhoes, top of
But their
line.
backhoes.
Yeah.
I love their excavators. I have a 135G. Favorite machine I own. If you ever see me in that machine operating, I'm grinning from ear to ear.
So you're still on the
What's up, Mark?
tools. You're still on the tools then.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he thinks you're really handsome.
Mark just
Thanks,
walked in
Mark.
and tapped Matt.
Oh, and by the way, let's do a big shout out to our boy Mark.
I was waiting for
Skylux.
you. That's your responsibility,
Hey,
man.
you know what? I got it written down here. I was just waiting for a good opportunity, and that was perfect. Mark just walked by. We want to say a big thank you for him supporting and always giving us a home for
Recording the podcast
for the construction.
Mark
life.
and his crew have been on 2 of my jobs lately. Recently, right?
And
Doing a hell of a job.
And
so.
if you follow Manny, that like all his roofing and
follow me
gutters,
online, don't follow me in person because
Yeah.
that's just like creepy.
Just a little creepy.
Mark's got his back in real construction.
All right, where were we? Oh, Skidster, Case, and John Deere.
John Deere. I love my John Deere excavators. I think they make the best excavator on the market.
Wow.
It's got 3 hydraulic pumps, beautiful Isuzu engine. I like the Isuzu engines versus the John Deere engines.
Is it like a smaller diesel motor but more efficient? Is that what it is?
I don't know 100%. They're all around the same horsepower, some physical size, but I also like the John Deere because of the dealership. Their after-sales service is amazing.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference, eh?
I import my drill rigs from Italy as Hitachis, and the reason I import them as Hitachis, and I get an option between JCB and Hitachi. I import them as Hitachis because I know I could go to the John Deere dealership because they're the same machines and get parts and service. Wajax won't sell to me because they're gray market machines and they think I'm importing machines and cutting their grass. John Deere, I make a phone call at 3 o'clock the day before. I'm in the shop, 7 a.m. There's a box on the floor that says Matt's Parts.
Nice.
What else can you want?
That's
honestly,
service.
and I don't. Okay, so I have a John Deere a lawnmower, like a sit down tractor, and it's a X300. It's a pretty nice machine. It's better than the little ones at Home Depot and Lowe's. It's a really nice machine.
Okay.
And I take it in to get it something fixed on it, and they're like, "Oh, well, that's under warranty. We'll just take care of all that for you, and we'll throw in an oil change." And I'm like, "Wow!" And they're like, "You don't need to come here. We'll come to you." And I'm like, "What service is that, man? That's John Deere."
Yeah. So that's why I always say, like, it doesn't matter so much what you're buying. It's who's going to sell it to you and who's going to service it and stand behind your product.
That's right.
They're an extension of your brand.
Exactly.
That's huge.
And yet again, our biggest cost in this game is labor and our downtime with labor. A machine breaks down. Who the fuck cares about the repair bill? There's 5 guys
Standing around doing nothing.
costing me $85 an hour each. You lose a day of opportunity costs if they have to go home early.
So these machines are important.
They're my lifeblood.
That's why you have 3 for every job site.
Not drill rigs. Not drill rigs.
I really thought it was like when I did work for the city, there was 3 or 4 of us on jackhammers and air breakers, and like we always had a few machines going. So I just thought that means that 3 guys are hard labor all the time. 1 backhoe guy, like machines up at the top. You got dump trucks?
I have 1 dump truck, and we do not put soil in it. I do not do excavation.
What do you
But
put in it?
Metal?
Metal, everything else but soil.
Why is that?
I guess it's for the triaxle, really, right?
It's for the triaxle to pull a trailer to get materials to site.
Got it. Okay.
It's actually got a hook and lift on it, an
Okay.
Atlas Polar hook and lift. I love it. It's a great machine. I wish I didn't buy the Freightliner. It has electrical issues. Everything else on the truck's
Really?
bulletproof.
What would you have bought? A Mac?
I bought a Volvo tractor recently,
Okay.
and I was against it. I wanted the Peterbilt. My driver wanted the Volvo. He's
And-
been with me since the beginning. I made him sign the PO. I was like, no complaining, Paulo. So
And now,
I don't hear one peep from him.
So it's working.
It's working.
It's good.
That guy's amazing. If I need him 4 a.m. in the morning, he's there at 3.
you know what though? That's really amazing that you actually listen to your guys' preferences for them to enjoy their day more, so that they can enjoy their job.
But you're not the one in the seat.
I drove that truck 3 times now. I took it home one night.
Okay, just try.
I bet you did.
The
What
neighbors
does a
got really
fiance
mad
to
at
say
me.
to that? Like,
Oh,
The neighbors got mad at me.
I'm in a spook. I live at Broadview Danforth. Everyone's very professional there. So like I'm the construction guy in the neighborhood. So like I'm in a spat with one of my neighbors on if there's a parking spot at the end of at the end of the corner. And I'm like, this is a parking spot. And he always parks, so I can't park there. So I parked the tractor there one night.
he probably came out and just stared at it.
Yeah. Oh, he fully did. And I know he called the Toronto police.
No.
But what are you going to do? You can't tow it.
He can hardly tag it, man.
You know
Okay.
what? And it's so true. And because it's part of construction, I want to talk about it for just for a second. I've been at jobs, and you know, it's so hard for guys with big trucks like myself. I'm coming to do a project at someone's house, and the way I look at it, every neighbor should be happy that their property value is going up when someone's fixing someone's
100%.
house.
They don't get it.
But not only that, it's called neighbor. Don't think you own the street. And you know what? You should be supporting your next door neighbor when he's going through something, because instead of making more problems, it's going to take longer for the project to finish instead of helping them and letting them get through it as fast as they can.
They don't want to.
Sorry, I had to say that.
I 100% agree, and this frustrates me beyond belief. Like you are there working on that person's property. That neighbor down the street is going to want something done on their property.
Yeah.
And you're increasing the value to that house,
The
which
neighbor.
is increasing the property
Yes.
value of the street. It's just
They don't do that math.
But
Yeah.
what I don't understand is the more trouble they cause, the longer the problem.
yes, and the more the spat. But here's the other thing. As much as I agree with you there, I love it because so many times I get shoring projects because the
They have a
neighbors don't want to
conversation
deal
with you.
with the neighbor.
That's wicked.
Yeah, I play a little game like, yeah, you could fully not shore this property. You just got to get the neighbor to agree. All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, I get my neighbor to agree. Goes over to the neighbor. It's like, I just need to take down your fence, dig on your property, and we'll reinstate it. It's like, no, you're not doing that. I'm like, oh, you're getting shoring now. I'll take that 20 grand.
There's my sales pitch.
Yeah.
It's done. I just want to make a note that Carlito's in heaven here talking about all this machinery.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know you
totally.
are.
I love machinery. My tools, my backhoe is 1974.
Beautiful.
So one of the farmers said to me, I said, I'm going to buy some more machinery. And he said, don't buy anything new. He says, you're not in business with this machinery. You're doing it for your personal hobby farm. Buy old, less electrical, the less problems. And it's so true. So I got a Massey with a Perkins engine in it. It's an Army tank.
Great engine.
I actually found out the motor was in an Army tank.
Really?
That's where it originated. It came from the war.
Perkins was the original diesel engine manufacturer.
That's right. But that engine got transferred from the war into the machines, and they kept that design for so
Holy shit,
long.
from England.
So I'm driving a tank. But to tell you the truth, 1974, I still have my backhoe. Probably in the last 16 years, I've probably put about $9,000 into it.
Brakes
Mostly
and tires?
hydraulic lines,
Oh.
braking, and leaks and stuff like
yeah,
that, right?
yeah.
Diesel lines always busting and stuff
I
like
do
that.
enjoy my Massey Ferguson tractors.
Nice.
Yeah.
I got Massey clothes too. I got my Massey hat, Massey shirts.
Where do you get all that stuff from?
A Massey dealer.
Just out of curiosity, what do you farm? Anything in particular? Or?
Right now, I've been clearing a couple acres. I've been growing garlic.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and my wife is doing catnip. So
Really?
yeah, so it's really progressed. I never expected her catnip to get so far. We're planning to go into business. Well, my wife's planning to go into business selling catnip. So she has an organic strain that's pretty crazy. I'm not going to get into it too much because it's her little secret. But I'm getting into garlic. I was doing 9 species. I broke it down to 1. Nobody's really interested unless you're a chef. Like unless you're
I love.
if
garlic.
you're a chef, you love garlic. Then you get into spicy garlics like Hungarian, Russian.
Well, how many different garlics are you making?
Oh, there's a lot of like Sicilian, like they all have their purpose for food, but you have to be a gourmet chef to understand where they go. Everybody just wants music. They want to see a big garlic clove, not too spicy, but it says it's garlic.
But those bigger cloves don't even transfer the flavor of the garlic, I find. Like you buy those bigger cloves that are grown in
Oh, that's
Asia.
why I'm saying
Yeah.
that I'm going to music because nobody really cares. So what we do is we grow Hungarian or Croatian or Russian for ourselves, and then we eat that through the year and we throw it in our meals, right?
You would love actually coming to my office. I have my own planter box gardens where I grow my own stuff. I have no garlic.
Really? Just herbs and things like that?
No, I got tomatoes. I got
That's
lettuce.
wicked. Good for
I had
you.
my lunch from there today.
See, you're
Garlic, tomatoes, espresso, Speducci.
your background's coming out.
You're listening to
This
the
is a
construction
farmer.
life where we're talking about food and espresso and a little bit of tractor and
I
machinery.
should have knew when you came with all this food.
I love eating. So.
Good for you.
All right, we got our second last segment there, Carlito.
wow.
I don't know. He's going to surprise you. I don't know what he's going to do today.
Well, so you know the game, right?
Which one is it?
So it's a first offense on a job site. So I'm going to ask you a question. You're going to tell me
Is
how
it
much.
550?
The last guy that said it got it wrong. You never know.
I love that people are knowing that, man.
well, it's funny, but there's only so many numbers. But once it gets into, I think I'm going to take it to the second offense now.
650?
We've pretty much almost covered all the first offenses. I mean, we could keep going, but anyways, I tried to find something.
Okay, so this is Carlito's Green Book.
Yes.
Okay.
So a constructor failing to keep support system design drawings and specifications of project under 236-7
On
What?
site?
On site. What is the fine if an inspector comes on and he's asking
For the
those?
first offense?
I actually going to have to say 550.
I'm going to say 550.
You're both right today, and you win a slice of pizza. Oh, you paid for it already.
And that was Carlito's Green Book. All right, we're getting back to Matt. So, hey, where are my notes, man? You stole my notes?
Hey, man, did you come to the meeting? You got so much Speducci in your hand, you
At
can't even keep
Turnkey
up.
Shoring on IG, www.turnkeys.ca, info@turnkeys.ca, and the YouTube channel, Turnkey. We're talking to Matt. We're talking about shoring. We're talking about, where did the name come from, Turnkey?
I originally wanted to do a turnkey solution for solving the builder's problems because every builder complains about getting out of the ground.
It's true.
It's-
Once we
it's-
get out of the hole.
It's the-
Did that start early in your construction years?
Yes. Every time we were breaking ground when I was younger on construction site, it was a big deal. Like, ramp up, start of a project, got to get out, got to worry about caving soils. And
It's that first milestone
Yeah.
to get out of there.
once you're backfilled and everything else comes, it's easy, right?
Yeah.
It's predictable. Sorry.
You're not there. You're gone. You're on to the next hole.
Gone.
No, that's brilliant because most guys just come to work and all they want to do is go home and get high or get drunk or
Excuse me?
or go party.
What?
It's true. Yeah.
Most typical guys that just come to work. You took it to another level. You were coming to work, but you were trying to find your niche. You were involved. You were excited, and you took it to the next level. That's what made you so interesting over everybody else that just was just coming to work to just take their check and go home.
Where's the future? Where do you see Turnkey from here? You're 8 years old.
I am in the process of starting to drill geothermal holes
Wow.
Oh.
and harnessing some of that energy.
That's for big corporations then.
Well, no, they're doing it in residential houses
Yeah.
application, but I would like to start. I'm in an interesting spot now. I also do commercial shoring. I got a larger rig also from Italy, an SR45. So we're doing more townhome sites now, and a lot of them have geofields in them. So I'd like to start drilling the geofields also.
Okay,
So sometimes they go as deep as what?
450 to 600 feet, depending where it is.
Now, those geofields, are they underwater running springs or just pools of water, or is
No.
it just a temperature that you're looking for, that's 65 or whatever?
I don't actually understand the science of it yet. I've been trying
There's
to get
15 different ways of doing geothermal, but
Yeah, exactly. But basically, the one I'm trying to get into is where they drill a hole 450 feet.
and
down,
a couple of them, I guess.
And a couple of them. And they put a loop down, which is basically a 1-inch pipe going to the bottom that loops back up and gets tied into a heat handler. That's what we started. I actually have my first project next week. So
Congratulations.
thank you.
Wow.
I'm quite excited.
Can I ask how big the home is? Because I don't see it being a 3,000 square foot home. It's got to be something like 10 or 15,000, no?
No, this one's only about 6,000 square foot house. It's not going to heat the house or cool the house entirely. You still have to.
So it's a supplement.
It's a supplement.
Driveway, swimming pool,
Don't know what they're doing.
squash court?
No squash court. I can tell you that. I saw the basement.
Heated floor in the squash
Yeah.
court so the rubber bounces better.
So that's interesting. So it sounds like it's more of a challenge that you're trying to figure out, can I actually use similar tools that I'm using right now
Yes,
and expand
exactly.
your business from there?
We already have the capabilities with some of the equipment to do smaller holes such as this.
That's 2-inch or 4-inch?
Well,
Or
the
bigger?
holes will be 6 1/4 inch
Okay.
with and then as you pull your liner, you grout it with high fancy grout that's really expensive from Sika.
And non-shrink or
Yeah.
whatever, hydraulic grout.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you just start pumping through it, and you monitor how much, and then you do one test well, and then whatever heat you get out of there, they tell you how many more holes to drill in the project. So I got the guys already. A lot of oil and gas companies have gone broke or closed down, so I've been hiring a lot from Alberta.
Wow.
Great.
Excellent.
Great knowledge base there, and I always
Welders.
yeah. I always like to try and hire on a culture basis. My guys, if you come to my sites, they all eat and breathe the turnkey culture. Like, we're a family. We all work together for the common goal. Quality and safety are first. I always tell them profits will let me deal with.
I love it, man.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Let
I
me
like
deal
that.
with the profits.
Yeah. So I got these guys, and then along with that, I'm going to be doing dewatering on my own sites.
What's
Okay,
that?
yeah, what is that?
So you basically drill a hole, you put the same sort of pipe into the ground, not as deep, to where the water level is, and you start pumping the water to the surface.
So you're basically sucking all the water. You're sucking the water table out.
Why?
So you build the house, so,
So
it's
you can,
dry.
Oh,
you can
okay.
excavate so it's dry. So you don't have
Yeah, but you could do it on stilts. You have all the machinery to put stilts in.
people want basements.
People want basements. Yeah, those squash courts.
Squash courts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Home theaters.
All you need
Golf
is sub pumps.
simulators.
All I remember is I did a project, Lawrence and Bayview. There's an underground river there. The guy wanted, I'm not actually sure what he wanted, but it was a deep basement. It's a 20-foot basement.
Whoa, that's huge,
Yeah,
man.
It was disgustingly big, and there's an underground river. I remember I was in, like, I blew my brains out getting the shoring in there because it was such bad soil conditions. Then these
Mud
Atlas,
caving in.
Was it just like,
constantly.
it was just water? It was
we were double lining the holes where you take a steel liner, which
as
is,
you drill in.
as we're drilling, we put the first one in, and then we realized there was so much water pressure coming in, we had to put a second one over top, even bigger,
Wow.
to cut off the water to get our steel piles in the ground.
Wow.
Anyways, then this Atlas depolar comes along and drills a couple of holes in and out in a day. They charge $80,000, and then they get to charge by the day per liter pumped of water. Like, this is a great business.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
It's just straight rental business on equipment they install. And you have to pay them, or else they'll just turn off the pump.
You
Have to pay
It's
them
true,
when they
you do,
turn
yeah.
off the
They'll
pump.
flood the site for you.
Yeah.
Well, listen, anyone that's going for an eccentric 20-foot basement is
what's-
going to have the money for that.
City-wise, what happens to the water? Are you getting upset neighbors, or you got
They had
to?
a permit to pump into the city infrastructure.
Okay, all right.
Apparently, those are very hard and rare to get. You usually have to pump them into holding tanks and then truck it out afterwards.
Because
So-
it was only 10 years ago, or maybe a little bit more, that the city just got rid of all the connections to
Yeah.
this, right? So now we're all forced to.
Yeah.
That's
collect
funny
our-
you say that, because if you look at any of the Toronto projects on the side of the road, you'll always see a huge shipping container that's actually a water container.
Yeah.
And anything that's coming out of those holes is actually being sub-pumped into that container. They come and move 1 or 2 a day, right?
100%. There's
Yeah.
2 of them there. Or there's 2 at Keel and Black Creek. They've been there forever.
Yeah.
And
Just
they'll
pump
sit there?
every day. They pump
Wait,
them out.
But they're making money off of it every single day.
Every single day.
Every
per
hour.
liter.
Back
Every
charge to
hour.
the city.
Yeah. And it's something like, and there's so many unknowns to it, which I love. because now the city doesn't know how much water you're pumping. They're making an estimate from some engineer that did a calculation that could be completely bogus.
All I'm doing is I'm hearing the carbon copy of the invoice just being torn off.
And
Here
also,
you go.
for
Here
every
you go.
foot, I think it's like 50 grand or something that you're going down. You're getting extra from the city because you're digging deeper and deeper.
Exactly. So
Talk about dollar bills
Yeah.
being pinned against the mud. The dirt.
exactly. So, and then on this project, they had this junior engineer that would come by the project once a day, check the oil in the pump, and then record how many liters pumped to send a bill. I was like, oh,
Wow, I never seen that before.
I was like, that's better than shoring.
So that's where you're diving into. That's how you're gonna. That makes a lot of sense, man.
And the best part is all the equipment is I could use it.
Yeah, you have all this same thing.
So you're finding that your equipment's being able to do 10 different things.
Yes, I'm trying to get more equipment utilization.
Well, it goes back to cost
Yeah.
per, right?
So you're really getting your money's worth now on all your machinery.
Yeah,
But it's
so-
taken you 8 years to get to where you're at and a lot of math.
Yeah, so a lot of we got these. Probably shouldn't say that, but I got these Air IQ tracking devices on all my equipment, and I track how many hours used per job site and figure out my utilization per month on every machine. We run the drill rigs at about 70% utilization, so there's still 30% more they could be working.
Wow.
And you're trying to figure that out.
I'm trying to figure that out.
What do you
Because
think is off the top of your head that 30%? What is
Probably
that?
need a bigger crew
maybe a bigger crew
because you can only do so much with 5 or 6 guys. I've been doing, like, I've done trenching that's 25 feet plus down and city work, and got to learn a little bit outside the box, coming into their world, and I'm paying attention to things that they just really weren't paying attention to because it was just a job for them. But I'm like you, I was very interested in where it was going, and I can't believe how much work is being done by 3 or 4 guys, but like 6, then you get 8 guys going. You're getting a lot of production done.
Yeah, so on my drill sites, we only send 2 to 3 guys. And my 2 to 3 guys, they're fucking weapons.
Yeah.
These guys know.
I love it.
Like, we are so efficient. Like, my favorite operators.
You taught these guys? Or
I train these guys.
So
Okay.
one's an
I train all my-
operator.
One's an operator, one's
Well-
a front end.
Okay, and that would be a swamper then.
Yeah, swamper.
Okay, so most guys call them swampers, so that when the backhoe can't see or the machine can't see, he's telling the guy what to do.
Exactly. And I think about 2 in particular, Connor and Austin. They don't even talk to each other during the day. They just,
instinct.
it's instinct. They know, they're pointing. One knows what whip line to use, set the steel, pull the steel.
So one guy's working the crane, so that's the 3?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're great at what they're doing. I actually just bought Connor a truck just because he was
Doing
What
so
did
well.
you buy
doing,
them?
what's that?
What did you buy?
An F-150.
Yeah!
But it was the gas. If I was buying the diesel, I'd buy the GMC for the
Yeah, but you know
Isuzu.
what you can do, because you're a number man. I want you to think about this. If you spend $4,500, you can turn that into a propane gas vehicle, and you still have the same power, and you'll get triple your mileage out of it.
So I've heard
All my buddies have propane
I've heard of
now.
other- I've heard guys do this.
On my van right now, I'm getting prepared to turn it to propane. So I have a couple buddies. They swear by it. They have the power. They can go fast. When they really need a lot of power, they switch it over to gas.
so you could switch back and forth.
Yeah.
too?
So they start with gas in the morning. They start the car up with gas, and then they just hit it over, and it goes right to propane.
So you have 2 gas tanks now?
You have a gas tank and a propane tank.
Oh man.
And if you ever run out of fuel, you just take someone's barbecue and hook it up.
I buy a ton of propane.
That's not
It's
true. I'm
cheap.
just joking about that part. No, he wasn't. As he siphons gas out of the
No,
car.
but so like my buddy says to me, he has a resort up on 41 and 7. So he's always coming into the city all the time, and he's doing, I guess, about 300 or 400 kilometers each direction, and he's cut his fuel down to like 30%
Really?
going propane.
How does he fill? Like, how often do you have to fill up? Because I got a bunch of guys driving in from
How big's the
Barrie.
tank?
Well,
the tank is pretty big.
That really determines on the guy you go see and what you want to get.
But it's going to take space up from the bed.
They can put it underneath too. You just have to have a sticker on the back that says propane.
Underneath the truck?
Yeah, you can put it underneath where the spare tire
Oh.
is.
Sounds good.
Really?
Dude, cabs have been doing it for years. There's been, you know how many vehicles are propane? No one pays attention. All your limos, all your cabs, there's accidents all the time. You never hear about an explosion.
I'm so intrigued.
There was that big sundial.
Though the other day I was at the farm and I had a 30 pound tank out in the sun, and I left it in the sun. It was the shade, was in the morning, and then my wife looks over and she says, "Hey, what the fuck's going on with that tank?" And all I could see is fuel, like the propane. The first, you know how there's like 1, 2, 3 stages before it blows?
Yeah.
The sun's beating on it. It's got the first stages releasing. So I just grabbed and I put it out into the shade, and I was like, yeah, we'll just leave that over there for now.
Don't walk over there.
You know, about 2 hours later, it cooled down. I was like, sniffing around. I was like, it's okay. I'll use it.
Yeah, of course I'll use it again.
Sorry, I got off track, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to get even more, you want to make more money back, and it's cleaner, so less carbon footprint, better on the motor, less carbon build up into.
I know if you guys have done
injectors.
that. Yeah, you should look into it.
Yeah, I
It
would
makes sense.
entertain that for sure.
You'll pay my buddy swears you'll get your money back in the first year.
I got to ask you, Matt, biggest and smallest jobs that you've done? What's the smallest, tiniest job? Like, have you shored a shed?
I don't think so.
I short a lot of small things. We do a lot of sports fields installations, high mast posts.
Okay.
Oh,
Those are 1 day in and out. I've done a couple telephone poles. I've
is that
done
for Toronto Hydro?
Telephone poles?
Oh, sorry,
Yeah, just-
Bell. That'd be Bella Rogers, I guess.
Yeah, it was
Bell being the big distributor. Yeah.
cell phone towers are small 1 day jobs. The smallest actual job would have been, we call them these 3 pile specials we do for 12 grand. It's 3 piles. It's essentially it's for like a backyard walkout, but smallest thing we ever shored.
That would be pretty small, I guess.
So
I guess, yeah, so-
so as a homeowner, why and when do I call you?
Wait a minute. Did a half-naked man just show up there in the fridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw that. I was like, oh.
It's like
Yeah,
corner
but
of my eye. I was
You
like,
know
wait,
what? Only at the construction life.
We
Come
are
on
down.
We are at a live shop with a full gym in the back.
It must be a full gym.
There are guys tattooed and pumped over here. Is that a little weird?
No, that's the construction life. What's the biggest job you've ever done?
The biggest job I ever done is the one I'm on right now, which
Okay.
is 1.7 million.
That's a big job.
Yeah.
What are you doing there?
We're doing 2 levels of underground, but we're holding up an old church that's on the property.
Cool.
And that's the cost. That's the real cost driver on the project. So there's a large portion which I had to sub out to EBS,
Okay.
where they do these grouted helical installations to hold up the buildings, and we're able to get 2 levels underground with that. It's pretty cool what they do.
Man, I can only imagine sleepless nights not a part of this
Oh
equation.
man! Every time it rains, I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, I really hope my shoring holds.
Yeah, but it's all bolted together, right?
Still,
No,
though.
welded.
So everything gets welded.
But
and
still,
you're worried
man.
about those welds breaking?
No, we're
the ground.
it's all
They're just dropping in.
We're all those welds are CW. Like all our welders are CWB. Like the
What does
steel
that
will-
mean?
It's the licensing body in Canada, so they all done their tests. But the steel will never fail on the weld.
It's
The steel
stronger
will.
than the steel.
Yeah, it's stronger than the steel.
It's the steel that breaks and
It's the
fractures.
steel that breaks or something kicks out. I'm never worried about the steel actually breaking. I'm more worried about piles kicking in. Actually, my biggest fear is there was a drill rig that fell in a rainstorm. It was at the top of the bank, ready to get shipped out. And we had a big rain, and it fell into
Yours?
the hole. Not mine.
Oh.
I'd be devastated.
Whoa. And it fell into the
Yeah.
actual.
So my guys are all so well trained that the equipment gets parked at the front of the site, branding forward, because you always have the turnkey name to the
course.
street. Canada flag up. Because
Yeah.
Of course, man.
Connor puts the Canada flag up and
Quaker oats.
away from the hole, so it'll never fall into the hole. So
Well, and you know that's something important. Like we've been making fun and we've been having a good time.
We?
Yeah, we have all of us. We've been talking. You know, you're talking about crazy numbers, but people don't realize that one of these failures or one of these accidents, you're out of business.
Yeah,
and that
100%.
means 70 guys that rely on you and depend
55.
on you, and their families, not including their families, will have no work with one major accident. And a lot of things too is like, because I worked for the city, I saw these crazy numbers, and you think, oh, $50,000, but you don't realize how much 6 guys cost and the machinery. and the pumps and the tanks and everything else that goes along with it, the permits and everything else.
That's why that one chainsaw that's $500. I'm not worried about sending an extra one. It's the cost of the labor. It's also the cost to outfit the person correctly with the right PPE, with everything. Because if you come to my site, everyone's decked out. They're all wearing their safety. Quality and safety, we don't cheap out on. Those are the two things.
MLL must love you, eh?
We had an issue with someone calling the MLL because we were doing such volumes of jobs and they were getting mad at us.
So you're successful and you're doing well,
Yeah.
and someone's upset.
It's just a challenge.
Well, we took a job that, they wanted, I guess, and it's happened a couple times. And they think calling the MLL on us is going to screw
What, I
us
don't
over.
think you're prepared.
It's hilarious. My guys don't even talk to them. The Ministry of Labor walks up to the drill rig operator. The drill rig operator reaches behind his seat, pulls out our safety binder, says, "Go call Fernando. Let me know what you want." My sister has it all laid out. We have our whole safety equipment in the drill rig, and they're all trained on how to use it. We have safety plans. We have all the fall protection there. Everyone's trained. They don't go to site unless they're trained. And if they're not trained, we identify them as not trained, and we have them work with a senior person. My sister does a great job with our health and safety binders. We get pinched for the odd thing. Like the last thing we got.
they have to pinch you for
Not
some
putting a
little thing.
harness on or something stupid, right?
It's the last one
Pylons in the
was,
right place,
a
signs
porta-potty.
up.
It was
A what?
A porta potty.
No way.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay.
What?
you
There was
found-
no sink in it or something, or there was no.
There was no heater in the porta potty.
But it's
Wow.
over, what is that? Over 5 or 6 you have to? So you had more than 5 or
We
6
had 3
people.
guys, and there was no heater in the porta potty. It was the winter time, and so they shut down the job site for that.
Do you know how many porta potties I've had to shit in?
Just tell them that
have
the
no
guys
heat?
ate chili for that.
And there's
day.
20 and there's 20 of us out there.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah. And by the way, off topic but on topic, there's a mad shitter in the city.
What?
He knows how to get into these porta potties and he will leave huge marks in people's fucking porta potties.
What are you talking about, man?
Every morning when I was working for the city, I'd come in and some guy would have hit it up, like a homeless guy or somebody would just smoke that thing. We'd have to call in the guys to wash it all out because nobody could use it.
oh man, what does he do? Just stand on the seat and poop at the doors?
If someone didn't like I think it was like one of the homeowners on one of the high-rise condos just came in and just,
No way. No way, man.
yeah, fuck you guys. Sorry, off topic.
Off topic, but on topic. Matt, there's so many words here I've never thought would be on this podcast, and like mad shitter is one of them. I don't get it, man. I
did not anticipate talking about shitters.
I don't get it. Have we covered everything?
No, I never, because Manny was so excited like I was speaking to you. What would a homeowner call you for? I have a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot home. I'm going into renovation. Why and when would I call you?
So basically, any basement over 6 foot excavation depth in Toronto will need some sort of shoring or some sort of geotechnical review. Generally, after 8 feet, they're calling us to do engineer drawings, which we do ourselves. I have 2 great staff members who do our own engineering,
Nice.
and we submit to the city. And then after that, we evaluate the site and figure out where the shoring needs to go. We give you a plan. You say yay or nay, and we give you a price. And then we rock and roll.
Is that from the seat of your truck?
Not anymore. Not anymore.
So if anyone knows if it's in the seat of the truck, don't ask him for a price.
They don't know that he's in the seat of a truck. He could be the
Oh, I
seat of a
see.
cat. He could be on one of his tools.
I don't
man.
actually give out pricing anymore because I'm too soft to certain people. Like I give really
that's
good
all right,
pricing.
man.
So
You've come a long way. It's good. There's a
No,
reason
that's
for it.
great. That's great to hear all that stuff, man.
well, I really enjoyed being here too. You guys are rock stars.
We're not quite finished here.
Oh, okay, sorry.
We're not quite
You guys are
finished.
kicking me out
No,
here.
we're not. You brought all this food, man. You're basically European.
Manny, once he gets a little bit of food in him, he starts to slow down in the mind.
No, Matt, we got one more segment to do, right? So first
Wait a
of all,
second.
What? Hang on a sec, man. First of all, we're talking to Matt from @Turnkey Shoring, IG. www.turnkeyss.ca, info@turnkeyss.ca, and YouTube channel Turnkey.
Yeah,
Are
I'm
you
gonna check that out tonight.
You're going to check it out. All right. Matt, we have...
We have the 10 questions.
You know about this one?
No, I don't know about
This is a new one. This is maybe only 10 or 12 episodes
Yeah,
in.
but it's been really fun. And it's been changed in the last podcast.
So when I was in the film business, I used to watch this show called The Inside the Actor Studio with James Lipton. And at the end
James
of the
Lipton
show-
was the old guy with the glasses, right?
He had glasses. He
Yeah,
was an
I used to
older
watch
guy.
him, yeah.
Sure. I think there's millions of old guys with glasses.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he had a show, and at the end of it, he would interview the actors and producers, and he would ask these 10 questions. I catered them to the construction industry. So the first question, what is your favorite construction word?
Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna have to go with machine if that counts.
It does. It does. What is your least favorite construction word?
Failure.
What turns you on in construction?
Oh, the sound of the diesel engine just roaring gets me hot and horny.
You must be Croatian.
It's you with the Massey Ferguson tractor. I'm sure when that goes on, like,
Oh, dude.
Just
You
pure
can't get-
wood, huh?
Honestly, my wife has this, like, she screams at me. We have now a walkie-talkie. She actually says, "Get off the tractor."
What turns you off in construction?
it could be some of like the other trades that aren't respectful to the trade, like to my guys. Like if it's not left clean, if the demo guy leaves garbage there,
They just don't care.
They don't care. It really bothers me when guys don't care on site. Like irks me.
What's your favorite sentence phrase with a curse word in it?
Let's fucking go.
That's the longest fucking go I've heard.
What construction sound or noise do you love?
Oh, it's the sound of those diesel engines.
Again, huh?
Fuck. When my truck backs in, buddy, I am like out the window, like, yeah, give me a honk, Paulo.
That's so exciting. You know what? That must be an exciting feeling for your guys to see that you're just as pumped as they are to come to work.
Oh, yeah.
It's fantastic, man.
I see them on the road, I'll be honking at them like, hey.
What construction sound or noise do you hate?
Oh, the grinding metal. I do not like. I'm like, oh, I hear that. Like someone didn't use the grease.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
You know what? I love what I do. I truly wake up every morning excited to go to work. I go to work 6 days a week. I love truly what I do.
You better start making it 5. You want to stay married.
I know. She already said that.
I'm not even kidding you,
First of
bro.
all, technically he's not married.
Yeah.
What
but he is.
profession would you not like to do?
To be one of those professionals, like a lawyer, accountant type of thing.
What?
You know, lawyers
Coming
have,
from an accountant's blood.
you know,
Yeah, I know.
lawyers have the
And
highest suicide rate.
Yeah.
My fiance, she's a lawyer.
Uh-oh.
Like
Dum, da-dum, dum.
she's a corporate lawyer. She didn't work 1 week all week. She had no work come in, and then Thursday night we were supposed to go out for dinner. This is a year ago, and she's just like, "No, I got to start working." She worked the whole weekend, like 18-hour days on a piece of
How it works.
work, and
Yeah.
she's at their beck and call.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Heaven does exist, and I had a good life, you know.
Matt, thank you very much, man. This has been a great talk. I'm happy that you got on the show, man.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
very
really
happy to. I really enjoyed coming out here. I will
Honestly.
promise I will hammer down Dom to get out here.
Yes, yes. We have to get Dom on the show. We have to.
That should be really
And
interesting.
we got to pass by your office so we can go get some tomatoes
And some espressos.
and some espressos from a
And-
proper machine.
And
But
the next time I see you, I might have to bring you some garlic.
There you go.
You know what? I would really enjoy that. Like,
We have some Hungarian garlic that's been in my wife's family
And
for
you're listening to
45
the
years.
Construction Life, the Farmers Market podcast.
But I want to say you guys do a great job, especially on the human side of this. I truly
Thanks, man.
love that part of it.
Wicked.
Like, I like to hear the stories that people have gone through, intricacies of what they do.
I tell them all the time. Afterwards, we always call each other and we review everything. We talk about it. And we've done 94, 95 shows now.
Yeah, I was heard
And-
I wasn't 100. I was looking at that.
No,
Randy.
I know. We have our planning for our 100th, right? But the thing is, I still am fascinated that we have yet to hear the same story.
Well,
And I love that.
and you
love
know,
that.
this was about you. This wasn't about me and him. This is about you. And that's what's so interesting, right? When we do speak, like when you leave, we'll be driving home to our loved ones.
Our planets.
Yeah. And we'll be speaking about the things we enjoyed and how much fun we had. And I find that we should almost be recording the conversation that we're having because we ended up having so many questions we never asked you afterwards. And we're like, I always say to Manny, Fuck, I should have asked him that.
It's like the director's cut it into
I know.
a movie.
Always that. We just say, you know what? Let's do a part
The
two. That's all
director's
it is.
cut.
The director's
Manny,
cut.
he's just invented another sequel.
People are amazed that we really don't cut out that much. Like we're always leaving a lot of the talk in there.
I was listening to these before, and like
We don't cut out that much.
it's
I mean,
pretty raw.
there's been certain
Oh,
things.
it's raw.
that have
I call it no policing. You know, Manny's got his opinion. I've got my opinion. As you know, we always argue back
I hate
and
the
forth.
TV
And
rental shows. I can't stand
I love
them,
television.
especially the one that he was on.
And I love it. That's his. And you know what? I should never be able to hold him back from his thoughts and his feelings, and he should never be able to do that to me, and vice versa
100%.
to you.
Exactly.
And because we're so different, it's nice to try to figure something out that works for all of us, right?
Wait a minute. I got a sense that your fiance probably watches the rental shows, and you.
I
watch-
hate those rental shows.
Okay.
Whoa,
But
hey,
does
hang on.
she?
That's where I came from.
I know that's where you came from.
Hate is a harsh word, but I fucking hate them too, right?
Yeah. Since there's two hates, I'll say I love them.
We'll save that for another podcast. We'll do another one with you, Matt. We're actually on a job site where you're drilling.
I would love to have you both out.
Oh, we'd love
Honestly,
that.
man.
If you're free this coming week, I'd
love to come and check it out, dude.
Yeah, we'll set you up with some safety gear.
Yeah, for
We have
sure.
everything.
Orientation and
For
get
sure.
you guys out there.
I totally would love to see that.
I'm so macked out. It's not even funny.
He's wearing Mac Construction's ink hat.
I'm wearing Mac Construction right now.
I'll actually leave you guys some hats and some stickers after
I
this.
love it. By the way, we love gifts.
What? He brought all this food.
I brought all this food
This is
that you don't even
amazing.
eat.
I know.
Rosie, thank you so much.
He
for
is
the-
Italian. If you can see him right now with his hands.
This is offensive. If you come to my office, I pour you an espresso and you don't drink it. I will
it's
slap you. I'll
amazing.
be like, man, what an asshole.
Honestly, we don't. There's been one or two people. Usually we get like a cigar with people or there's a drink, but this is crazy.
There's been booze. There's been food. There's been.
If you ever say I'm coming to your house, come over to my house for a barbecue, I'm totally coming.
I got a green egg smoker. Like, if you're coming over, like,
Listen, I'm just gonna give you a forewarning. If you thought you saw a half naked man in this, you're gonna see a full naked man in that. Okay, Matt, thank you very much. Carlito, we got to get out of here, man. We are talking to Matt from Turnkey Shoring, and find him again at Turnkey Shoring, www.turnkeyss.ca, info@turnkeyss.ca, and the YouTube channel, Turnkey, man. Thank you, Matt. Really appreciate it, man. Dude, solid. Wonderful show. Carlito, get us out of here.
416. Watermelon.